Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Huzur says that a companion of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah was his name, and Abdullah bin Amar bin Haram, he was son of him, and the father is that companion. With reference to his mention a few weeks ago, I mentioned that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after his martyrdom, he mentioned that Allah Almighty asked him that what is your desire, what is your ambition? You tell me so that I can fulfill that. So he said that, "Oh my Allah, my desire is that I should be given life and sent back in the world, and I should get martyred again. Because it is against the tradition of Allah Almighty to send somebody again. So Allah Almighty said, this cannot be done, because those who die, they are not returned back to the world again. Apart from that, you say, what is the desire?" Anyway, Huzur says the standard of his sacrifice and the very special treatment of Allah Almighty with him, that is clear. Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah, his great father, he was a son of that great companion, and in the childhood, Bai'at Uqba Saniya, the second Bai'at, he did the Bai'at at that time. Abdullah bin Haram, in that incident, it was also mentioned that he told his son that the debt that I have, the loan that I have, that after that you sell the commodity of the garden and pay back that loan. And according to this instruction, he paid all the loan, paid back the loan. And apart from that, in that time, this was customary that against the crops, people used to take loan. So Jabir, Hazrat Jabir, in order to fulfill his requirements, he used to take some loan on this basis of the fruits and the crops. And a detailed incident is recorded that how he, at the time of the returning of the loan, he said to a Jewish person that this time the crop, the yield is less and the income will be less. So therefore give me some lenience in the payment of a loan, take some this year and the rest next year. But the Jewish person, that Jew, was not able to give any leniency. And in this anxiety, Jabir bin Abdullah, he came to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to know about this incident. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he recommended to the Jewish person, but he did not agree. And then the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he, in order to pay back the loan, how he took all the effort, he prayed, and how Allah Almighty enabled him to pay back the loan. That is mentioned in the history. Here I may mention that some people say that Abdullah bin Amar, the father of Hazrat Jabir, and it was in relation to the loan that he had to pay on behalf of his father, which he gave, with the advice of which he gave to his son, that you pay back this loan on my behalf. Anyway, at that time the fruits were less and it was difficult to pay back the loan, whole of it. So then the matter reached to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As I mentioned, in Sahih Bukhari the narration is that indicates that this is an incident which happened sometime later. Anyway, whatever may be, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his kindness to his companions, and also the miracle of the acceptance of his prayer is quite evident from it, in whichever way it is mentioned. Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah, he narrates that there was a Jew in Medina who used to give me loan until the fruit of the new crop was ready. My land was situated in a certain area, and once 1 year passed by and the yield was very low, and the fruits were also not ready. And in the time when the fruits are plucked, and the Jewish person, as usual, he came to get back his loan, the money which he has given to me, but I had not yet taken the fruit. So I begged for the relaxation for 1 year. The time may be extended, but he refused. That he thought that perhaps I may be able to get control of the whole garden. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to know about that, so he told his companions that let's we go and get some time, buy some time from this Jew. And along with the companions, he came to my garden, and he spoke to that Jewish person. But the Jew said that, "Oh, Abul Qasim, I will not give any respite in this matter," and addressed the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Looking at this attitude of the Jewish person, so he went round the date palms, and again he said the same, but again that person refused. And during this period, so I brought some dates from my garden and presented it to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he had. And then he said, "Jabir, so the shed that you have in the garden, where is that?" Shed for taking some rest. And I indicated the place, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that you spread a prayer mat for me. So I complied with it, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ slept there. And when he got up, and then I brought another some handful of the dates, and he had some and stood up, and again he spoke to the Jewish person, but he did not agree. The Holy Prophet ﷺ again went round the trees of the garden, and then told me, "Now you start taking down the fruit of the trees and start paying the loan of the Jewish person." And during that period, he kept standing within the trees of the dates. And Hazrat Jabir says that I paid the whole loan, and still there were some dates there. So I presented this glad tidings to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and he said that I bear witness that I am the Allah's messenger. When this miracle took place, it was an extraordinary thing. And this incident that took place, and that happened because Allah Almighty listens to my prayer and He blesses my actions. So therefore, in this whole incident, in this the kindness of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and because of the acceptance of his prayer, the blessing in the yield of the garden, in the dates, there also we see that the children, the companions, they were very desirous of paying back the loan on time. And this should actually be the outstanding mark of all the Ahmadis as well. Sometime we see in our society, the people, they say they are Ahmadis, but they are not very much mindful about that. And in the case of paying back the loan, they are postponing, and sometimes years by years pass by. So we should also remember and this point, and we should remember these words of the promised Messiah ﷺ, that after coming into my bath, then you have to follow the noble example of the companion, and you have to follow that and do according to that. Only that beautiful society can be created, which was to be established after the advent of Mahdi and Massih Maud. To pay back the loan, regarding this thing, the importance of that. Hazrat Jabir, from him there is another narration mentioned. Before that, I may mention this incident, that in some narrations it is mentioned that when it was known to the people that the loan has been paid back, Hazrat Umar came there, and the Holy Prophet ﷺ told Hazrat Umar that ask him what has happened. So he said that I did not ask him. So when you went round the trees of the garden, then immediately I came to know that the whole amount payable will be paid immediately. And when you went round for the second time, then I was firmly convinced that this is going to happen that way. And then, as I said, the importance of paying back the loan. There is a narration from Hazrat Jabir that a companion was had to pay loan of 2 dirham, and he died. On that, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, he refused to lead his Janaza prayer himself, and another companion gave the assurance and the guarantee. On that, about the payment of the loan. On that, the Holy Prophet ﷺ led the prayer, and then asked the other day, next day, that you took the responsibility of paying 2 dirhams. Have you paid it or not? So this is the importance of the payment of the loan, whatever it is there, and it must be made. And also it is narrated by Hazrat Jabir that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said that if a believer leaves some money, that is for his inheritors, those people who are left behind. And if somebody leaves a loan to be paid, and there is a property, and in his property cannot pay back the whole loan, or somebody who is without some children who are without any ability to pay, so then looking after the children and the payment of the loan, that arrangement will be made. That means that this is the responsibility of the government. They are responsible, and also to look after the orphan. That's the responsibility of the state. And to make arrangement for all the expenses this point is very much emphasized in Islam. That is why he said that it's the responsibility of the state to look after that. It appears that these 2 narrations, on one side, only he refused to lead the prayer of the person who had to pay 2 dirham, dinar, and on this other side he said this is the responsibility of the state. They appear to be 2 different occasions. In the first case, in order to make this point understand to those people who take the loan without any reason, and then he should pay the loan and his relatives, and if they are able, they must fulfill this responsibility. On the other occasion, he has pointed out the responsibility of the Islamic State, that looking after the nourishment of the orphans, and if the property is not enough to pay back the loan, then the state should take care of that. So this is the way, this is the lesson for the Islamic states which the Holy Prophet ﷺ has given us, that how we should and the Islamic states, they should look after their subject. But unfortunately, the rights of the subject and the people which are denied that is being done unfortunately by the Muslim states more than any other state. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, another incident of his kindness to Hazrat Jabir is also reported. The narrator says that I came to Hazrat Jabir bin Abdullah Ansari and told him that whatever you have heard from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please narrate to me. Hazrat Jabir says that I was with him on a journey. The narrator says that I don't know whether it was an expedition of war or any other occasion, but when he returned to Medina, then the Holy Prophet ﷺ told me that those people who want to go back to their families quickly, they should go. And Hazrat Jabir said that we started very quickly, and I was riding on a camel, and it was a brown color, and there was no spot, and the people were behind me, and I was going. That the camel died, and he did not, he stopped there and did not walk, and did not move on. And when the Holy Prophet ﷺ told me that you sit on the back very firmly, and then he hit him with a stick, with this camel, he hit the camel. So then the camel stood up and started walking. And after that, and it started walking very briskly. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said that, are you willing to sell it, this camel? I said yes. And when we arrived in Medina, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, along with many of his companions, when he entered into the mosque, I was along with him. And I tied this with very in the corner of the mosque, and told him that this is your camel. I told Huzur. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ then came out, and he saw, and he said, this is our camel. And then he sent a large amount of gold, and then said that, have you taken the full amount of the camel, the price of the camel? And he said that all this money which you have paid, that is yours, and the camel is also yours. He very kindly, the Holy Prophet ﷺ, returned the camel and also paid the price, whichever was asked. So maybe the reason is that in this narration it is also mentioned that in order to fetch the water, the camel was being used. And uncle of Hazrat Jabir also used this facility. So they might have objected that why have you sold it, and how we will fetch the water. Anyway, this was the kindness which the Holy Prophet ﷺ he used to show in relation to his companions who have given lot of sacrifices, and also he was very kind to their children. Allah Almighty may exalt the status of these companions, and these incidents which I mention time and again enable us that we should also adopt these good qualities and follow it. So on this, after this, after that, Huzur says that I am going to mention about some people. The first is Bilal Adlabi Sahib of Syria. He got injured seriously in car accident on 17th of March. After he passed away, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. Bilal Sahib, in 1978 he was born. When he was 17 years old, so he got him a job in the company of a friend. He came to know Ahmadis over there, and after some time he did the bai'at. Dr. Sahib says that in Syria since 2010, in various houses we used to offer the prayer in various houses. And this year when we came back from Qadian, so then I started offering the prayer which used to offer at the house of Bilal Sahib. And at that time, as he did the bath because of me, he received me very warmly and he was very hospitable. But he was grateful for this thing, that it is because of you that I have taken the path of Ahmadiyyat. And he used to look after me very well. The president of the community writes that Bilal Sahib had a sports car shop and he used to help other people. And if there was no cloth in his shop, then he used to provide it from somewhere. He was very respecting the honor. And whenever he couldn't see any Ahmadis that he is not wearing proper dress or anything to wear. And he used to try to fulfill his need in any way possible. He was taking care of his children. He got them in school, admitted in school. And he says that 2 days before the demise, when we were offering prayer at his house, Secretary Messiah told us that we have to, he has paid all the dues for the Waqf-e-Naw, Tariq Waqf-e-Jadid and Tariq-e-Jadid. He was very regular in the payment of his contributions and he used to keep an account. He was very helpful to mankind in the prayers and worship. He was very particular about the offering of these things, and he was very close attachment with the institution of Khilafat. He used to listen to every khutbah. President Sahib writes that when I used to give him the gist of the sermon, so he would start crying sometime, and he says that as if the Khalifa of the time is speaking to me and talking to me. He has left behind one son, 11 and one daughter, 12-year-old. He has left 2 children. His brother, he is Ahmadi, elder brother. He is in Germany. And that brother and one sister, they are not Ahmadis. And they are opposing as well. When the time of the Janaza came, then Allah Almighty made this thing that his brother said that Ahmadis, you come to our mosque and offer the Janaza and we will not stop you from doing that. And by the grace of Allah, a large number of people, they attended the funeral prayer behind us. The second, Salima Mir Sahiba. He is our former Sadr of Lajna in Karachi, wife of Abdullah Sahib. She also passed away on 17th of March. At the age of 90. He was her father was a companion, Mir Elahi Baksh Sahib from Sheikhpur Zila district, Gujarat. He did the bath in 1904. And her mother, Halima Begum Sahiba, she was educated in Qadian, and teaching of the Holy Quran was, she was very fond of that. And when Salima Mir Sahib got married, and after the partition they came to Qadian, came to Karachi, and 1961 they went to Iran. And there were 3-4 Ahmadi families, and she arranged the meeting for all these people. In 1964, her husband died, and after that, Mir Amanullah Sahib is her brother. She went to Karachi and looked after 8 children, and she also started the teaching and finished that, and also started doing work in Lajna office, and she was doing the correspondence. And in various capacities, she was able to perform the duties in Karachi Lajna. In 1981, when Munsima committee was, administrative committee was formed, that Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Salis appointed her as the president of this administrative committee. She says that Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Salis, when he appointed me like that in this position, when the announcement was made, I was very much emotional, and I was quite that how I will be able to shoulder this burden. And on one side, the obedience to Imam, and on the other side, my helplessness and weakness. And there was, I had the feeling that I don't have the experience. I got busy in prayer, and I prayed to Allah Almighty and started the work. And I held the meeting of executive committee again and again, and in front of all of them, the obedience and attachment with the Jamaat and the Islamic moral, and to wage war against the innovations and all these things. And she mentioned all these things, and some people object to the administration. So she said that there should be no criticism against the administration of the Jamaat in our meetings, and then excessively one should seek forgiveness. And she used to write letter to Khalifatul Massih Salis. She says that this is the doing of Allah Almighty, that the Jamaat Karachi in Lajna started making progress. In 1961, when he started the job in Iran and then in Pakistan, in 1986, the Lajna Karachi's center, it was then Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Rabe, he appointed him the president of Sadr Lajna Karachi, and since 86 to 97 she served as the president of Lajna Mala Karachi. Lajna Karachi, regarding the publication of the books, during her period of presidency, a lot of books, 60 books and 2 souvenirs were published, and the start of the Da'ilallah class was there. Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Rabe showed great appreciation for that, and he said that you are working very hard, and they earn my heartfelt prayers. Allah Almighty bless your age and your blessing and your happiness, and Allah Almighty reward them, all your helpers in this life and the life to come. And there are so many incidents regarding the work. Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Rabe, Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Salis, in both of them they appreciated his services. In one letter, Hazrat Khalifatul Massih Rabe wrote that the report from Lajna Karachi, with the deep emotions I received, and I appreciate that, and I greatly value from my heart, and I always pray to Allah Almighty for your blessings. And I think that those days may come back, the memory of which is always disturbing my mind, is in my mind. And at the age of 36 she got a widow, but she never uttered any word of unthankfulness, and she was full of praise to Allah Almighty, and always submitted to Him, and she wanted to see the same quality in her children. But her daughter says that my husband, when he got ill, and it was the last sickness, my mother came to me. She came to me, and the very first thing she gave to me was Malfuzat and certain other books. And she said that at the demise of your father, I spent my life in Malfuzat, and I have handed over the whole life to Allah. And the love of Allah Almighty should be predominant in all the loves. She said that when the last moment was there for her husband, the doctor asked me to sign. So I could not control, and I started crying, and my voice was a bit high. My mother also listened to that, and I was extremely disturbed at that moment. Salma Mirza was there, and the daughter's husband was dying, and the daughter was extremely worried. And when I was going back from the hospital, I stopped with my mother, Salima Mir Sahib, but but she said that you are my daughter and you should not be so, so much disturbed and loss of courage. And you have to show the patience. And your husband was the trust from God, and he is the master, and now he has taken back. You should show patience. And there was a fourth son after the three daughters. And when he passed away, he used to advise to be patient, and he was always full of prayer. And the children say that she used to always say that you always hold fast to the Khalifa of the time and always be attached to Khilafat. She was very particular about the parda, the veil, and wherever she saw any weakness, so in a very nice way she used to advise that nobody should feel ill about that. One of her daughters says that when the proposal for the younger daughter was there, the boy said that I would like to see the daughter. We asked the mother that if instead of niqab, if she just did the scarf. The mother said that it was the proposal of the marriage of her daughter, and the narrator is mentioning about her younger daughter, sister, and the mother replied that whether the rishta is there, proposal carries through or not, but she will not go without anbile. There was a driving test of one of her daughter, and the instructor was a man, and she went with the daughter, and she said, I will go with you. And people laughed at that, but she did not mind this thing. And on wearing the scarf and wearing niqab, she used to say always that the book published by Lajna on the statements of the caliphs about this, about the veil, the book is Oढ़ने वालियों के लिए फूल, flowers for those who use the scarf. So then you will have to take this scarf, and these flowers are for those people who observe parda. And one of his granddaughter says that when my marriage was to take place, then Nawab Mubarak Begum Sahib's book, in which the advice which he gave on the occasion of a marriage, they were underlined. She underlined those and gave the book to me for study. It is said that she did not like the meeting of the ladies late at night, and if there was a meeting late at night, then she would go along with that. And now the ladies also, sometimes the girls, they say that we have to stay outside. So this is totally wrong. Our daughters, our girls should not do like that at all. And sometimes we miss the Fajr prayer, then she would not talk to us the whole day. She was very particular about these things. Once she was in Chicago for a function, and there was music, and also some ladies stood for dancing. So she held back those ladies and said, stop the music, and you don't know what is said about those people who dance, those ladies who dance. And she looked after the orphan daughter, taught her the prayers, and very good moral was taught. And she was saying that I have become half Ahmadi. She was a non-Ahmadi. Amtul Bari Nasr Sahiba says, Allah the Almighty, Apa Slima Mir Sahiba, she served the Lajna Karachi for a long period. She is no longer here, but her trained members, they are working the Lajna duties here and there. They will remember, they will keep alive his name. And her name, and she says that she used to teach other ladies how to work, and she was not very much like that her name should be mentioned. Rather, the name of those who are working with her, their name should be mentioned. And when the publication of the book, in that she took a very important, played a very important role in that. Most of the time when she had to go out of the country, so she used to write to Markaz that another president should be appointed, got appointed, so that the work should not be affected. And he convened the meeting, and some garlands were given to that. And then she asked the new president to sit on the chair and then advise the people, and very respectfully she discharged her responsibility. And this is the way how the responsibility is transferred. And some people, when they are moved from our responsibility or their application is not there, so many comments are made. It is a lesson for such people that if the job is there, then alhamdulillah, all praise to Allah. And if it is not given, then they should thank Allah Almighty and try to find out other ways to serve the community. And without the office as well, one can serve the community. And it is said that she used to do all the responsibility in confidence, and when mentioning that she was taking care of that trust. And the writer says, Amtul Bari Nasir Sahiba, that I don't know how she would keep all these things to herself. This is a very good quality, and this weakness is in men as well sometime. And from Karachi, another lady says that she was a very loving lady and very modest, and always keeping herself behind and appreciating the work of other people. And she was very jolly fellow and with a smiling face, and Allah Almighty granted her a very kind heart. She says that when she appointed me, then I said that the area is very vast, and I don't have any transport and I don't have the experience. And she said that my daughter lives nearby, so whenever you want to go for tours, just ask her, she will provide the car, or you just tell me, I will send my car. And there is nothing to worry about that. She was very modest. Along with the workers, she used to sit together and get the job done. From Karachi, Secretary Nasrat Ishat writes that Tapaslima Mir Sahiba, in 1986 I have been working with her. I have found her very helpful to the poor, very modest. And once a lady who had drifted away, when she came to know about her that she is not feeling well, and she has got some rare things, some souvenirs of the Jamaat, so she, Hazrat Khalifatul Massih with the blessing and the prayer of Khalifatul Massih, she contacted her, and one of but before that she died, and asked her relative that if we are ready to pay the price, these are the very important things, and the tabarakat, the relics of the promised Messiah ﷺ. So they got all these things, and some letters written with the hand of Hazrat Khalifatul Massih, Massih Maud ﷺ, and certain other historical books were there. So with great wisdom she was able to procure all these things, and she looked after her treatment as well, that lady. And every writer has written that she was very graceful, very dignified, and showing very good morals and very good etiquettes. She was attached to Khilafat and always advising the ladies about that, establishing the people on goodness, and always advising for the good things. And all the people, she used to advise all of them. And not only that he was paying attention to her own children, she used to advise everyone. And dependence on Allah was very profound, and also always happy with the decree of Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty exalt her status, and her daughters, may Allah enable them to continue his good morals and his good services. after the Jummah, I would be leading the Janaza in absentia.